I'm taking the team total. I'm taking first quarter, first half, full game, taking it all. OU all the way. I lost so much money on OU.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. Can't start to all crazy.
And they run through our ass like shit through a tin horn, man.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
What is up, and welcome to not another CFB pod. This is the big game review, Super Bowl review. We obviously had a big win for the Chiefs. Some bets we had hit, some did not hit, but a great game was had. We got to talk about it. How we doing, Beast?
Doing great. I thought it was an outstanding game. Did pretty solid betting. I feel like it was a nice little Monday to roll into. I'm bummed that football's kind of over with. I mean, I know we got like the XFL and stuff coming up, but you know, it was a good game at least. At least we didn't go out on like a bad game. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the XFL here in just a second, at the end, I should say, because I've got kind of some interesting news about the XFL, so I'm kind of excited. But great game. You and I thought nailed it as far as the game goes. Now, obviously, we had fun props and whatever, and those hit and didn't hit and blah, blah, blah. But our main focus was, number one, coin flip game. Sure enough, it was a coin flip game. It was very close the whole way. Number two, we thought it was going to go over. This thing went way over, and it was a great watch. I mean, so much fun. We'll kind of go through the game flow, but just kind of my process. You hit the nail on the head with like at least we went out with a good one. You know, that we obviously were kind of robbed of like a final tying drive potential by the Eagles, but at the same time, it was just so well executed by the Chiefs that they kind of left no doubt there at the end and left no time on the clock. So thought it was a great job coaching, and maybe we can get into that a little bit. But I felt like Andy Reid kind of he did his thing, but I did think it was a close game. Like, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this, because I was thinking about it. If that game's played 10 times, it might be 5-5. You know what I'm saying? 5 wins for each team. I think maybe the Chiefs win 6, like 6-4. But dude, I could see that game going either way if it was played again.
Oh, 100%, because both teams, I mean, the Eagles looked so good in the first half, Chiefs looked so good in the second half.
Right.
You know, so it was definitely one of those games where the way that game ended, I was like, yeah, the Chiefs are the better team. But if you watch that game up till halftime, it was pretty clear that Eagles were kind of taking it to them. And that was, you know, really what they were up 24-14 at half. I mean, so they put up 24 in the first half and then only scrambled for 11, you know, in the second half. So it was, you know, definitely interesting to kind of see how the Chiefs came out in that second half. But I think you're very right that if this game was played 10 times, it probably would be something like that, because we saw both teams have such ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm. Great game. I just love the momentum going back and forth. I guess what we should do before we talk too much about the game, though, let's talk about a little bit about the fun props. So we obviously were on the total for the time on the national anthem to go over. That confirmed went under, correct?
It did go under. Yep.
I was timing it, and I thought that maybe I had a chance just the way I was timing it. But I think I was just way off, because I thought it was pretty close. I think it was somewhat close, but that number gets higher every year, and I don't want to ever take the under, though. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of put us in a tough spot with the anthem.
Yeah, no, it's always, you always want to take the over, I feel like, just because it seems, you know, like it always hits. But it seemed a little fishy this year to me. I didn't end up betting anything on the anthem just because I was like, man, it seems like such a guarantee that Stapleton's going to go over, because everybody, like, that was the theme, was that he carries his notes, like he's country, he's got the guitar. And I was like, it's not usually great vibes when it's like so heavily on like that theme, I guess.
Too many opinions on the same side, kind of scary.
Right. But I guess it happened with heads too. We had.
I was just about to say that we brought too many people and showed them about heads. We told them that tails was the public play, heads is the sharp play, blah blah blah. We brought, like, everyone on the network was on heads. It was kind of on that. We should have just kind of, we're gonna go heads, but you know, it could go either way. You know, we shouldn't have. We hyped it up too much, maybe, and that was a tough way to start for me. So I was immediately 0-2 coming out the gates.
Yeah,
but Thankfully, I told you guys, and we had the first kick to be a touchback, and it was.
That was huge. That was a really nice win because you're right. If we didn't get that, it was going to be a problem. Because I would
I
have been
know.
0. I would have been 0-2 at that point. You would have been 0-3. So
0-3,
it was
yeah.
like it definitely kind of got us a
Yeah.
little bit of money back in the account before the rest of the game went.
Yeah, and that was a pretty juicy, that wasn't like but it just felt good. You know how it is. You get one on the board, You need to get
Yeah.
one on the board. You need to see one go in. All the cliches. So, but we also we almost forgot to mention the turf in this game was a problem. It was a
Oh
big
yeah.
We saw kickers slipping a lot. There were just tons of big spots in the field that you could see where a guy like just his cleat just dug in and he just scraped, for several yards. So it's pretty interesting looking into the field. And I don't know if you saw this, but I guess they grew that turf specifically for this game. And it's like this blend of da 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 da. Oklahoma State is a big ag school. They're the
Mhm.
ones that made this blend and came up with this. And I think they oversaw a lot of this grass growing. And it kind of feels bad for them because before the game, they're like, this is Oklahoma State turf. Let's go, which is ironic because their home stadium's a field turf. It's not real grass. So it's kind of ironic, but it was a problem. Dudes were slipping. I didn't know if you noticed that too, but dudes were it looked like guys were dying out there.
Oh, and there were a ton of players that complained about it after the game. After the
Changing
halftime,
cleats.
yeah, after the halftime show, it was worse. Like, they had to go out there and they were trying to fix up the field because the halftime show, I guess, did a little bit of a number on it too, because
Yeah.
you had people down there probably,
The stages.
just walking around, even just moving stages. If you set it
Mhm.
down, digs in. Yeah, not great. And like, I know what you mean too, as far as like, these agricultural schools. I know a couple guys that do like the what is it, turf management, I guess is
Yeah.
the
Yep.
degree.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like I
Which
you
is
know
cool.
I
I,
was
I low key might want to do that if I redid life,
hey, there you
go
go,
a
man.
different path. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I love football. I love the game. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, but like I texted, one of my friends that does turf management, and he was saying, yeah, he's like this is kind of one of those situations where he's like, I'm nervous that like going forward they're only gonna do turf, not
Yeah, because
grass.
that was such a bad showing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really odd. It did affect the game, but at the same time, you hear anybody like there's an Eagles fan saying like, "Oh, if so and so wouldn't have both teams played on the same field." So it's
Yep.
like everyone was dealing with the same problems.
Yeah,
But
understood.
I think it was the Eagles kicker that barely got one off and like his foot was sliding as he kicked it and like he just went down but he still
Yeah,
got it out and I think it went out of the end zone even. So it was kind of from that standpoint, very interesting. I mean, it just threw another curveball in an already crazy game. And then we got a hit on this first quarter because the way this game started, I thought the final score was going to be 65-70. It was just bang, bang. Both teams went right down the field, scored touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had a 1 yard run. You were on the game. Did you have a Gainwell touchdown or were you just on his carries?
no, I just had Gainwell carries, but they were
Okay.
using him a ton on even the
He
first
played
drive. I think
so
he got a
much.
couple carries. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up his box score because I'm sure he just went way over your what you had for him. Yeah, he had 7 carries. You needed 5, right? So I
Yep. Yep.
mean, easy. But it looked like he got in. He was just short, and then they did this quarterback sneak, which was going to be a big thing to talk about because I've already heard kind of some rumors swirling that they're going to look into potentially banning that specific play, not the quarterback sneak, but the way the Eagles do it, which I think is just where they get kind of a wedge
Everybody.
formed and they get so low. And they do say that, and it makes sense that it could be dangerous for guys. You're cutting underneath them, and it'll be interesting because it was basically unstoppable. I think I saw that they went like 6 for 7 on it or 7 for 8, and the one they missed was a big one. We'll get to that one in just a second. But then bang, we get that first touchdown. It was a really good drive, really pretty. Everything was great. And we turn around, and in 6 plays, here come the Chiefs right back, and this beautiful ball from Mahomes to Kelsey right over the shoulder, drops it in 7-7. And then kind of the second part of the first quarter stalled out a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, they're settled in now. Maybe it doesn't go over. In hindsight, I already had the over, but in hindsight, I wish I'd have taken the over right there, like at the beginning, end of that quarter, because bang, the first play of the second quarter. Well, I think it was the second play of the second quarter. But either way, AJ Brown, long pass from Hurts, perfect ball, 14-7 Philly. And then Philly had the ball again, and they were about to go for it. I think they were around the 50-yard line, or just driving a little bit, and it was a quarterback sneak that had a false start. So then it's 3rd and 6 instead of 3rd and 1 or whatever. And the weirdest play ever happened where they put some pressure on Jalen Hurts. He ends up kind of fumbling on his own a little bit. I think he was trying to tuck the ball away or something, and it scooped up. This was huge because the Chiefs made it 14-14 when it seemed like the Eagles were playing way better at that point.
Yeah.
So it's 14-14 all of a sudden. Then bang, Eagles come right back down the field, get a touchdown, and they get a field goal right before half. They were able to get down the field. So like you said, 24-14 at the half. We were obviously on Chiefs. We were on the over. We on our props. How are you feeling going into the half? Like not just the game, but also we were getting hyped for Rihanna.
Yeah.
I mean, just what were your vibes like?
I was praying that Mahomes was going to be healthy because remember he got hit right before the half.
That's
too.
a huge thing to remember. He was limping badly
And
on that leg.
Yeah, my first thought was, dude, we're done if he's not playing in the second half.
I think,
you know what I mean?
I was with you because I think I even sent a message in our chat, was like, just hit the Eagles right now, because I was just I was dead, man. Mahomes got a nasty sack. Yeah, I think it was like on 3rd down, or he got rid of the ball, but the dude grabbed his ankle and pulled on him a little bit, and yeah. So I was with you there, but yeah, keep going. You're going off.
No, yeah, it was one of those halftime shows where I was like so excited to see Rihanna, but the whole time I'm watching Rihanna, I'm thinking, dude, we got to cover +1.5. We're down 10, but it was like, hey, like if Mahomes can get it going, and thank God Andy Reid is so good at just these like halftime adjustments.
The adjustments.
Just such a solid coach all around. He had those guys obviously very fired up. I don't know what he said. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in that locker room, just because they came out and their defense completely looked different. Obviously, Mahomes and those guys were really moving the ball too, but I mean, to only really allow 2 scores, the touchdown and a field goal, it was pretty impressive out of that Chiefs defense in the second half.
Defense played much better. I think that we have to talk about halftime a little bit because I think we both had props on it. I think my only prop was that one, and I tried to describe it on the last episode, but basically for there to be pyrotechnics to be shown before any props or anything like that. And I also took last minute Rihanna to not show her butt cheek, which I don't know how they're even going to do that, but that also cashed. I can't remember what the prop was that you were on. I think you were on the first song.
Yeah, I had the first song is Diamonds, which honestly, like that line, it was at like +800 early in the week, and then I think the song list may have gotten leaked out. It got leaked
at some point because people were talking about the first song. Was it "Bitch Better Have My Money"? Or whatever?
"Bitch Better Have My Money" was it? And by the time like they took that prop like off of the books, it was at like -300 or something like that. Like, so I'm pretty sure like it got leaked out that like everyone knew it was going to be that or something.
That's an interesting call to be your first song as well. Like I wouldn't even have picked that. But yes, that line movement should have told us. I wasn't paying attention to those lines because once I got my kind of couple bets in on the halftime show. So actually the halftime show was great for me. I was having some peach crown and Diet Coke. And
there you go.
Just had we had a good number of friends over and vibing out. I had just posted the stance pick. But I knew in the back of my head as I'm watching the show, and I thought it was a good show. But I knew we were getting the ball to start the second half, or at least I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, we did.
But it didn't result. We did end up scoring. Was that the first? Yeah, that was the first. So we ended up scoring a touchdown the first drive in the second half too then. Okay, yeah, 10-play, 75-yard drive, Pacheco touchdown. I'm kind of mad at myself just because whenever I take these first touchdown scorers, I usually try to take the anytime touchdowns as well. Because not only do you get the double dip factor, you could hit both on the first touchdown, but you also get like, I had that guy first touchdown, but he scored the second one. You still get that. I didn't get that. So, but Pacheco gets in for a touchdown. The Eagles then went down, and I told the guys in the third quarter, it was late in the third. The defenses had started to settle in a little bit. I told the guys, if we can just end this Eagles drive with a field goal, and so we're down 6 going into the second half, or I guess, going down 6 going into the fourth quarter. I knew that we were in a good place, and that's exactly what happened. Jake Elliott field goal. And then I believe it was a long punt return Oh, that was the second touchdown. So the first one was a long drive, 9-play, 75-yard drive. That was capped by a really cool little play. I don't know if you picked up on it, but they actually did it twice, the Chiefs, where it was like the outside wide receiver was coming in. And so automatically the Eagles were like, okay, you got this guy, and I got this guy, kind of had their back turned. And when they did that, he cut back out and there's no one outside because they're already.
Yeah.
And they actually did that 2 times for touchdowns. The second one was after a very long Tony punt return. It's like 60-yard punt return. That was the longest punt return in Super Bowl history. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard that on the broadcast.
Seems crazy.
And I was like, what? I was like, I guess you'd think there
I mean,
would
it was
have
a
been a
good
return
return,
touchdown, but yeah.
So what I didn't realize is that punter for the Eagles was just activated like the day of the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
they
it
had a
was.
bunch of roster issues or something
Yep.
and kind of had a low kick on that one. And they capped it off. They were right there in the red zone already. 3 plays, 5 yards, Sky Moore touchdown. It was that same play just flipped where Sky Moore looked like he was coming inside. And then when the Eagles turned their back, he kind of just jumped back outside and there's no one out there. Easy walk-in touchdown. So at that point, they go ahead and kick the field goal to go up 8. And I want to make a point out of this because I saw a lot of people talking about they should have went for 2, blah, 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 to go up 9. But we got to kind of draw this up for people. So instead they took the automatic 1 and went up 8. So they could have went for 2 and made it a 2-possession game, but there's a lot of problems with that. Number one, there was 9 minutes left. That's a long time for a really good offense to go down the field. If you don't get it, or even if you do get it, they're going to get the ball back again a second time. You can't run 9 minutes off the clock. So they make the right call by kicking the field goal. You never put yourself at risk of then all of a sudden, let's say they don't get the 2-point conversion. It's a 7-point game. Then they don't even have to convert a 2-point conversion to tie the thing up. But the Eagles, shout out Jalen Hurts, right down the field, 8 plays, 75 yards. So Hurts got in on the touchdown and then also got in on the 2-point conversion, which is called an octopus. And we actually discussed that somewhere. I don't know if we did it on the podcast or if it was on a live stream, but we had mentioned that because it was one of the first times I'd even heard of the term. And wouldn't you know it, we get one. I think it was like plus 800 or something going in on Barstool.
Yeah.
And it hit. It was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah. No, it was super cool. I mean, really, Jalen Hurts had such a phenomenal game. And I think that's what's unfortunate is that, like, for as good as the Chiefs played, personally, like I thought Jalen Hurts might have been the best player on the field, on Sunday. I know he had the costly fumble for a touchdown.
Had the one bad play.
But like outside of that, I mean, he was outstanding. He was running the ball really well. He was throwing the ball really well. Like he did everything he really needed to do. It felt like.
Let me. Short. I've got the box score pulled up, so let me read his stats because it's kind of insane. So he had 304 passing yards and a touchdown. He averaged 8 yards a pass. And then he had 70 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. He averaged about 5 yards a carry. That's crazy to have 4 touchdowns and lose so what happened to finish the game, the Eagles went down the field. There was a long scramble by Mahomes, which a lot of people are talking about as like, this is that big advertisement for Toradol because they compared that play when he was limping to the play when he was running full speed in the second half, and it is kind of crazy. But he got a big scramble down there. They were already in field goal range. Clock was running down, but the way it was going to shape out is that the Eagles were going to have one more chance to go down the field and hopefully try to tie the game or whatever was going to happen. But there was a defensive holding call. Juju Smith-Schuster was on a route. I think it was actually that same play that we were just talking about, but he didn't sell it as well. So Bradbury had a little time to get there and he grabbed him. It wasn't a huge hold, but it was still the right call. And Bradbury after the game said that, yeah, I shouldn't have grabbed him, or I was hoping I could get away with it, that kind of thing. So I'm glad he took that route because I love Philly fans. They're passionate, but they could have taken that to a stupid level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understood the gripe, I guess, from some of the Philly fans that it's like, and just fans in general are like, this game can't end on like a ref's call. Yeah, and they're just like, why are we gonna have it end on like a ref's call? I'm like, it really didn't. It ended on like the Chiefs drove downfield and set themselves up for a field goal. And the other thing is Yes. So, like, let's just say that didn't happen. Like, there's a minute and 20 or a minute and 30 on the clock or whatever when Kansas City kicks that field goal. Like, you still would have had to go down and they
with
may
no
have gotten
timeouts.
like you still would have had to go down the field and score. Like, and Kansas City's defense was kind of shutting you down for the majority of that half.
Yes.
Like, to just think that it's a guarantee that Jalen Hurts and those guys were going to go down and score. Like, I don't think it was such a guarantee. Like, they were having a lot of issues in the second half. People just forget that. They just want to
Yeah,
pretend
it's
like that
convenient.
wasn't happening. That,
It's
like, there was
convenient.
only 2 scores in the second half by your team. Like,
Exactly. 11 points in the second half for the Eagles. Adjustments were made by Kansas City, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, that's a great point too. They were going to have to go down the field. It hadn't been easy for them. Now their drive previous to that, Jalen Hurts went right down the field on them, 8 plays, 75 yards. But again, things are different when it's, the last 2 minutes. Chiefs, they got 2 sacks in that game. I don't know that either one was like a traditional sack. I think both of them were like kind of scrambles where he just like went out of bounds, like a yard behind the line of scrimmage kind of thing. But you've got some freaks on that D line for the Chiefs as well that easily could have got after the quarterback. So, I'm with you all the way. And it's interesting because they were trying to let the Chiefs score a touchdown at one point, and then I guess they decided they didn't want to do that. And so if he just doesn't hold and they just get 7 there, then they've got a minute, 20 seconds. Now they had to score a touchdown, but at least they don't, at least they're going to have the ball because the field goal ended up going through with 8 seconds left. Jalen Hurts dropped back. It was a weird, they got kind of discombobulated. I don't think the play was really supposed to go the way it did. It ended up Jalen Hurts kind of just threw like a Hail Mary, but you could tell he was trying to throw it way harder and than he really was capable of. And the ball just kind of came out low. Like it just kind of was like low and it just dove into the ground like 10 yards in front of everyone and never had a chance. So I feel bad with the way it ended, but a great night, a great football game. I was glad to have my buddies over there with me because we had a really good time. A lot of us were on Chiefs. One guy was on the Eagles, but he's a Cowboys fan, so it wasn't really like he was just overly cheering for them. It's just that's who we thought was going to win. I did want to ask you because I can't remember. So they had that 9-year in a row coin flip thing, or 8 years in a row, where the team that lost the coin flip won the game. Did that happen again? Who won the coin flip in the first half? Was it?
I'm assuming what happened is probably
The Eagles started with the ball, so they would have deferred.
probably
The
Chiefs
Chiefs
won.
won. So that
Chiefs
broke
won.
the little curse thing.
I'm
So yeah,
assuming so, yeah.
I think that's right because I do remember my buddy saying, "Okay, it's scripted for the scripted for the Eagles now because they're receiving to start the game, and that's happened however many years in a row." So that is right. But interesting, broke a little mini curse. But again, if these two teams played, I wouldn't be shocked if it's 5-5. I think at worst it's like 6-4 for the Chiefs. But I mean, fantastic game to end on.
Oh, totally. And like you kind of mentioned already too, like we had so many like fun props going that I was
Yes.
rooting for things that like I would have never been rooting for. Like I had the Eagles punter. It was just like in
Yeah,
general
the over on the punt.
the over on the punt, which they ended up counting it. It's based
Good,
on
good,
just
good.
punt yards. It's
I
not
wasn't
like
sure how that was going to go because his
yeah.
longest punt did get returned for, I don't know, 10 yards or something. So I didn't know how they would
Yep.
handle that, but that's good. That's good.
Yeah, no, he booted it like he just needed over 50 and a half. He booted it like 56, 57 on the
Nice.
first punt of
Yeah.
the game. I was like, hell
Yeah.
yeah, all right. So
You
I was
started hot, baby.
yeah, it was really good.
It was that bounce, man. That bounce got you a couple extra yards on that first punt. I was cheering for it as well. I told one of my buddy Druid Raccoon from Twitter was with me, and he knew he's a big Beast fan, and I was talking to him about that prop for you, and it was a good hit. And yeah, great way to start. I'm trying to think like my props altogether didn't do great, but I hit some. Like I don't even know how to describe this, but I looked at my bank account or not my bank account, but my gambling account after the game was over, and I had way more money in it than I thought. So I don't know if I had like a Chiefs future that I forgot about, or I don't know what happened. I know
Maybe.
that I kind of took a fun prop and it was boosted. It was Chiefs to win and Mahomes to have 3+ passing TDs, and that did hit. And that
That's
was like
huge.
I want to say plus 300 or maybe a little more. So that did hit. That helped. And then big on the Chiefs, both on the money line and on the spread. And then we also both had the over. those smacked for us. So
Yep.
it was a good day. And then a lot of your props hit. The one interesting one that I didn't know about at first was I thought the Gatorade might have been clear for just a second
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the camera angle they showed us originally of it was just like a half second. It was like kind of as the bucket had already kind of gone and like the last bit of it was dripping off of him. I thought it might be clear for a second. I got kind of hyped.
Yeah. No, because
Because
it ended up being purple, correct?
purple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Which
is which is kind of funny because I heard lime green all week. Everybody's like
yes,
it was
everybody was
leaked
on the
out.
green.
I'm
Yep.
like that. I don't think that's true. Like I don't think they'd leak that out. But
Yeah. Well, what sucks is I remember seeing one of the Chiefs players, if it was Mahomes or who, but he grabbed a Gatorade bottle and was squirting in his mouth, and I noticed it was purple. And I almost said something in the group chat, like, dude, it's gonna be purple, da da da. But you couldn't, I don't think you could live bet the what color the Gatorade was gonna be. Maybe on like a big fancy book you could, but on mine you definitely couldn't. And if I could have done it live, that's what I would have taken as purple. I don't know what the number was for purple, but great hit there. I don't think purple was included in the clear that I had. Clear had some kind of little stipulation because there's also like Gatorade Frost colors that are kind of
yeah, like a
clear white.
white, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I wasn't really sure how they would grade that. But yeah, purple Gatorade. But my synopsis of the Gatorade dump was correct, where last second field goal. Also took a little fun prop somewhere that the final play of the game wouldn't be a kneel down. It was a little juiced, but for the final play to not be a kneel, and that hit. It was a little, it was obviously that little Hail Mary that didn't work out at all. Made
Yeah,
me
there
feel
you go.
bad because Jalen Hurts had such a good game. We just talked about it, but you also hit your Patty Mahomes MVP bet. Talk
I
about that
did,
a little
yeah.
bit.
And my thing is that I've kind of learned the past couple years is as much as you don't want to do it, it really that award really has become a quarterback's award.
It's a
So
name award, yeah.
yeah, I mean it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago when the Bucks won it. The Bucks were underdogs in that game, and I was like, it'd be silly to not bet Tom Brady to win
Yeah.
MVP because if the Bucks win, it's gonna be because of Brady. And like the same thought process that I kind of gave on Mahomes is I was like, if the Chiefs win, like no matter what, Travis Kelce could catch a touchdown. He had a big game. Like you
He
could have
did.
a bunch of other guys have big games. But if Mahomes was part of it, which he was, he had 3 passing. He didn't even have like a ridiculous game. He just had 3
No.
passing touchdowns.
Um,
Like that's all you really needed. And it was like, sure, like that's exactly what happened. Was they didn't have anybody that they could have technically said was better.
Exactly. Yeah. No, his numbers aren't insane. He only had 27 passing attempts, first of all, but only 182 yards passing, but those 3 touchdowns, which was huge. And then I think probably where this award came from is he had 6 carries for 44 yards.
Yeah.
A couple really gritty scrambles, especially the 26-yarder there at the end that set him up.
Yep.
What was going to be the game-winning field goal. But yeah, looking down this list, Kelce had 6 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. But really in the second half, I don't know if he was shut down really. He still had some catches for first downs and things, but it wasn't like he was in the first half where he was just like a machine. Like that first little touchdown he had, perfect throw, perfect catch, big, strong guy. But I felt like in the second half, he was kind of just more like picking up first downs, just like doing the gritty work, doing some blocking. You know, who had a better game than I thought is Juju Smith-Schuster. 7 receptions, 53 yards. He obviously got the big holding call there at the end as well. No huge surprises there, though. I think McKinnon played a lot more than I thought he would. Now, he didn't have a crazy amount of carries, but also I was told Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to get in, and I never saw him play. So, I don't know. Weird.
No, I never saw CEH come in like at any point. And
Yeah.
maybe that really just is like because that was the other one that we had was Pacheco's over on rushing yards.
Yep.
I gotta say, man, Pacheco, like I love that guy. Like if I could have been betting his props like way earlier than I started to in the year because he runs so hard, man. All it takes is for him to find a hole, and he's gonna try to go 1,000 miles an hour at any point. Like it's crazy.
It is. And we saw him get hit really hard there late in the game. But for that reason, he was like breaking a different tackle, and it was one of the safeties came up and just right in the chest, just boom, and it knocked his breath out and everything. He was down the ground for just a minute. But yeah, I don't even think that the game plan was to get him 15 carries, but he was just having a solid day. And so we're just like, keep going. Let's go. Like this guy's running hard. We can see it. It's working. He averaged 5 yards a carry on 15 carries, so you'll take that all day long. Obviously had a long one, 24 yards, and he had that short touchdown up the middle. Nice little play. Just a typical what do you call it? Just a Chiefs Andy Reid kind of. It was like a shotgun from like the one, and there was like 3 guys in motion, and then they ended up just being like a handoff up the middle. But there was so much for the linebackers to look at; they never had a chance. Really cool play. Shout out to the whole offensive line from Kansas City, because we talked a lot about the Eagles' defense, how good that defensive line was, and I think sadly because of the footing, the D line had a really hard time for both teams. Neither D line really did anything. Only 2 sacks, I believe, in the whole game. Yeah, 2 sacks in the whole game. I don't know how many tackles for loss there was. Probably a decent amount. Kansas City was being pretty aggressive on defense. They got a lot of guys in there. I'm just looking at the tackle numbers, and holy cow, they got a lot of guys in the game. But let's see, TFLs, 5 TFLs and 1 for the Philly. So there you go. I mean, 6 tackles for loss, only 2 sacks.
Not that much, it feels like.
That's what I'm saying for both these defenses, especially the D lines that we hyped up. I mean, I think the turf was really a big deterrent. Now it helped our over. I think if you're going to go that route, it definitely helped our over. So we'll take that, because I needed to cash those big ones, and I did. I also was big on the Kansas City plus 7.5 and the over 44.5 teaser thing.
Yep.
Catch that as well, which in hindsight is a little bit of a dumb bet. If you're already on the over and you're already on Kansas City, you probably shouldn't triple down and then also take that. But, I couldn't help myself. Ended up being a good night. The props for me weren't great. Your props seemed to be awesome. I hit a handful, but it seemed like your props did really well.
Yeah, my props ended up actually being probably one of my more success. Like, yes, we won the Chiefs bet, but I had like a bunch of like random props. Like I was saying, like I had the punter, I had like a touchback, I had all these weird kind of funky props.
Did you hit your halftime? Oh no, that was diamonds. Yes, no, we already.
Yeah, no. So I didn't hit the halftime. So I missed the halftime show. This was the one that hurt the most, because I had both kickers to hit a 33+ yard field goal.
Oh yeah.
Now Jake Elliott did his half, but Butker hit the post from like a very makeable kick. He never misses that kick, and of course he missed it. And I started thinking about him, like, I bet you he doesn't get another opportunity for the rest of the game over 33, and of course he didn't. Like
I know, and what sucks is that even the final kick was 27 yards.
Yeah,
it's like, just 7 yards back. You're chilling,
I was like, I guarantee if we backed him up 10 yards, he's hitting it too.
Oh, easy. It was right down the middle. That was a no doubter, the final kick.
I was like, whatever.
My buddy I told you about earlier, Drew the Raccoon, was over and told me that he had taken one to doink. And so when it did doink, I was like, hey, let's go. We're hyping each other up.
It's huge.
And he's like, well, I only took it, like, he did a specific one where it had to hit the crossbar, not the post. And I was like, why did you do that? And he's like, well, at the time I took it, I think he took them right before the game, and some lines had moved a lot. I don't even know. He said that even to take the crossbar was like only like 350. And I swear I saw a doink at like 200 or something, so the lines had moved to where I guess he just didn't feel comfortable with any of the posts. But that was an interesting moment. I didn't even really think about that, losing your 2 field goal bet, until you said that. And yeah, that's brutal. That's tough.
Yeah. It was a bummer, but like you said, we hit other bets, so stuff made up for it. I'm curious though. I mean, to be honest, Druid could have hit that if it double doinked.
But it did. Right, but it bounced outside.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, if he got a better bounce, maybe he would have.
And I think he took the prop a little differently, where it was like, if there's a missed field goal, how does it miss? Versus the prop I saw, which was just, does one hit the cross, or does one hit a bar or not, basically. And so I think he had taken the one like that, where it has to miss, basically. And how's it going to miss? And anyway,
gotcha.
I would have been on the doink, but I know our guy PFT commenter, which he even admitted it was a dumb bet, but he took no field goals to doink at like minus 450 or something stupid. And he obviously lost that because it's just, he even said it was a dumb bet when he did it, because they did like a preview show.
Yeah.
So funny, but that's kind of what makes the Super Bowl, is just all the little fun props you can do. Had a few hit. Beast obviously killed it with the props. So luckily I tailed a lot of those, and I think that's why my account was as high as it was, because I was surprised. But great game, great way to go out. I don't know. I was happy.
Yeah, we couldn't ask for a better game. Now the problem is we got to wait, really for
Longest
NFL
off
football
season
to
in
be back.
sports.
It is, man.
Longest off season in sports. Yep, it's like 200 something days or something crazy. So, but so the draft's pretty soon, right? When is it?
Yeah.
When is the draft? I want to look
Draft's
that
going to
up.
be in
NFL.
April, I believe. It's April or May. I think it's always April though. It's
Okay.
like third or fourth.
April 27th. So late
Yeah.
Thursday, April 27th through the 29th. There you go.
Okay.
So that'll be
So
fun.
Yeah.
We got to see both our teams have some needs. We're going to see who they draft. That's kind of fun to get hype about that. And then if we're talking about the spring, I also want to mention that I will be at the first XFL game of the
Huge.
second reboot in Arlington, Texas, cheering on the Renegades. I've actually got a connection that is going to try to get me field passes. Me and one of my buddies, and then we were going to be there anyway for a birthday party, and so we ended up getting an Airbnb right there in Arlington, and we're going to kind of party there. And so that whole day we're going to try to tailgate and interview people. We've ordered some of those Bluetooth lapel mics. I'm going to try to interview some people and just be stupid and have a good time. And I can't wait to introduce myself as Potato Gobbler, because I really haven't done that much, but it'll be fun. I'll probably just say PG and they'll be like, what does that mean? And I'll have to explain it, but it's going to be really fun. Looking forward to XFL. We do have some spring football. As far as the podcast goes, Beast and I haven't talked about it too much, but there will definitely be a little pause because we've been putting in a grind, 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
This is like episode number 47 or something for this season, twice a week, all year long from when did we start? I guess September or late August,
like
all the
August,
way to now,
yeah.
because we started covering college football. So it's been a long season, but
It's been a run though. Yeah, it's been a
great
run, man.
One thing I was going to say, and I was even going to say it in the intro, but I kind of forgot, is, and I don't know what our exact record is, but especially since we did so well in the whole playoffs, the whole season, we've got to be one of the more positive as far as kind of a podcast that puts out picks. We got to be way up there, because it's just funny. I listen to a lot of the Barstool podcasts, and like Bussin' with the Boys is a podcast that they do as like a football podcast. And so they have like a Bet the Bus pod that comes out every week. And dude, like following our picks versus their picks for the play, it's so crazy, which of course, they're like former athletes and very famous people and da-da-da. We're obviously just some plebs in our basement or whatever, but it's just crazy. The ratio of like, I feel like we not only were lucky, but we put in all the work, we put in all the grinding, and it like really paid off for our bets. Like looking back on the season, like I'm super proud because like we killed it,
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I have like the thing on my Action Network where like I can calculate how well I did like in the 2 seasons between college and pro, and I know I'm up like plenty of units between the two, and I know like yours was as well.
Yep.
I like maybe we can kind of look it up this week and get like an official number, because the season's obviously over, so
it'd be fun to put that out and just
But
I looking back at it, I'm always going to have a little smile about it because we just killed it this year. Don't know what the future holds yet, like we said, but dude, this season was fun. We killed it. The bets were basically every week. And the thing is, like, if one of us had a bad game or weekend, I should say, the other one usually had a good weekend. Like I can remember you having a couple tough ones in college football season, and me too. But usually when that happened, like at least, Beast was there to pick you up, or PG was there to pick you up. So very proud of all that, man. We put in some good work, and who knows, maybe spring football takes off and we do some of that, because this year we've got XFL, USFL, and the Canadian Football League, I think, is in the spring too. So we're gonna have 3 football.
There'll be plenty of content coming out at least.
Exactly. The XFL starts first, and then I think the USFL takes off, which is funny because I could have sworn that USFL merged with like somebody, but maybe they merged with one of the arena teams. I don't know, but I thought there was a partnership between XFL and USFL, but I guess not. I don't know. But I've seen a lot of them when people are talking about those, they kind of list them together. And I think that's just because the teams should be very similar caliber. They're 2 different leagues, but it'd be really interesting to see both champions face off against each other. Who knows who it's going to be? But USFL was really good last season. I ended up watching a lot of that. And then obviously it's going to be cool to have the XFL back. I don't know who's going to be in the stadium. It's in Arlington, but it's the first game on ABC. And one thing I wanted to say was, like, it's a lot of the WWE guys that own it, but I don't know who, like The Rock's there, but I don't know if he would be at the Arlington game. Like, there's other games that are closer to where he's from that I could see him being there for. Like, one of the people I thought maybe is Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I think there's also like a San Antonio team, and that's probably a lot closer to where he's at, because Texas is just so huge. I think there's 3 teams in Texas. I think it's Houston, San Antonio, and Arlington. So who knows? But maybe there'll be some cool celebrities I can get some interviews with. But be on the lookout for content on the Potato Gobbler page for that. So I was actually just DMing the connection earlier and getting kind of the final things together. I guess he's got to talk to so he's from the other team. So he's talking with the Dallas people about, like, who is this guy? And so anyway, I think they're going to more put me down as like a media person and like a gambling personality, or like, I don't know if they have categories or whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of interesting to see. He hasn't hit me up about any info yet, so I'm really interested to see if we get like a lanyard, if it just says like Potato Gobbler on there. It'd be really funny because I have no way to identify myself at that point. But it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, just say you're from the Coda Sports Gambling Network. You know.
Like, oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah. How did I not know?
There you get on down to the field. So it'll be cool, man. Bob Stoops is obviously the coach of the Renegades, which is, I'm an OU guy, so he was my guy when I was a kid. He was the guy that took us to a national championship. Took us several times, but we won one, which was a great time. So anyway, it'd be cool seeing him. The life dream is to get him to like do some kind of either pregame or postgame, really short interview, or just say hey to him or whatever, to take a picture with him. So keep your eye out for content on the Potato Gobbler page. And that's this weekend. So quick turnaround for the boys. Just talked about how much we've been hustling. So the grind apparently doesn't stop, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what the content kind of comes out from this XFL. So we'll see, man. But big things to come still. Like PG said, we don't really necessarily know what the future's holding, but we'll have plenty of stuff going on between articles and doing spaces and whatever.
Yeah,
we'll be active still. We're giving out bets on college basketball,
everything,
NBA, so. We're definitely going to be active.
Beast still got the Beast prop going on. We've got to play tonight, actually, which I'm looking forward to. I don't know if that's underway yet. Probably is, but going to be fun. So keep your eye out on the Twitters. That's where you'll get all the information. But we appreciate everyone who's listened through the year. We get a lot of DMs of people who tuned in or whatever, watched, and makes it worth it. Also, what makes it worth it is how well Beast and I did this year. Just with our picks, because it's one thing to make picks, but it's another thing to like stand on them and give your reasoning and like, this is what I'm on. Because we always, when we put out our picks, there's always somebody like, oh, that's dumb. I'm on Arkansas, dude. What are you talking about? And so it always feels good to hit some of those, and we did a great job with that. So proud of the season. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to take a couple weeks off, and we'll see you guys soon, I'm sure. And when we do, it'll be a good time. Peace.
For sure. Peace out, guys.